Hey y'all, IRIX guy here, and I wanted to share my thoughts about the RX10 II after my initial field test. And check out all the videos and tell me what you think. But my immediate impression is that it is going to be my go-to field camera, because I was concerned about that initially. But the reason it is, and obviously this is not a detachable lens camera. It's called a bridge camera is what they call it. But you do have the Sony hot shoe up there, which is really nice. You can check out my video test. Check the link within this video's description for the test where I did the external audio using that mic. Obviously, when it's not in use, you can put this little plastic piece that comes with it back in there to keep dust and stuff out. But I think the internal audio sounds good as well. But obviously the external audio is something that sounds better. One thing that I kind of dislike about this, see, this will go up and out, and you can manipulate the LCD and even kind of in a downward position if you're shooting something up. But the thing is, there's no way to go left or right, and there's no way to go up beyond that. So you can't do face on video with this. But the good thing is that, as I've demonstrated in my other video, check it out, you can pair your smartphone with it and basically use your smartphone as a handheld viewfinder to make sure everything's perfect. One of the things I really like about this camera is the viewfinder. And when you look through it, you're just going to see an enhanced level of detail. It's even more detailed, in my opinion, than the LCD on the back. And then also it has a level on it, so you can tell, especially if you're using a tripod or something, you can tell if your camera is level. One thing I really like about this is that it'll do 4K at 100 megs per second, not to be confused with frames per second. It's still 4K 30 frames per second, but it'll write at 100 megs per second, which is actually the camcorder I'm filming this with now has that after firmware update, the AX100 that I'm filming this with. But it feels like a really heavy camera. Definitely don't feel like you're using a less expensive camera when you use this. And I'd used the RX100, the Mark IV, previously, and unfortunately that didn't work out for me. I was impressed with the video quality of it, and I was aware that it had a 5-minute hard stop for 4K video, but unfortunately, because I film primarily in hotter environments, it tended to overheat, and I'm hoping I don't have that with this, and so far I haven't. I've beaten this thing up in the field already, and it has not aired out on me yet. And you just get a lot of stuff. I mean, if you're holding this one-handed, you can see how ergonomic the little grip is right there. So if you want to do one-handed shots, it's really good for that. And then obviously on the side of this, something you do not get with the RX100 Mark IV, you get a plethora of ports here. So in the RX100, you got the HDMI and the multi, but you did not get the headphone and the microphone jack. So you got a microphone jack on this, and then in addition to that, as I'd mentioned earlier, you can use the mic I was using didn't even require a cable because it was a Sony mic, and it just went through the Sony shoe, both the audio, and it also received its power through that. The batteries that this uses, it uses a very common battery among some Sony cameras. It's a so it uses a very common Sony style battery, FW50. So it's something that's easy to get multiple extras and have in your field bag with you. And then also, obviously, you can mount. I'm using the Mi Photo tripod. I'm using one in the studio, and then I've got the field one that I'm on now. But I'm using that style plate, so I've got that mounted to it. The card, you do need, especially if you're doing 4K, you need a high-speed SD card. The one I have is actually, it's 150 megs per second. Check the link within this video's description. You can find a link to it online. Works really well for me. And then also a feature you've got on this, you've got click on and click off. So if you put it on click on, you can feel the clicks and you can hear them. Hear that? But if you turn click off, if you're using it for cinematic type purposes, you don't get that clicking sound. So that's a really cool feature they added that, especially since this lens is not interchangeable. You know, you're stuck with this lens, and I don't mean stuck in a bad way, because this lens is it's a Zeiss, super high quality. I mean, check out the videos, you'll see how high quality the video quality and the photo quality both are. Does not have a touch screen. That's a gripe for a lot of people. I personally like not having a touch screen. That way my nose or fingers don't hit it and do things I don't want it to do. So it's a positive for me. One thing I wish they had done is enable this to flip completely over. Because the first thing I did, and you can't even tell it's on there, the first thing I did is install an LCD protector. Because I don't want to scratch this up, and if I do get scratches, hopefully it'll just be on the LCD protector and not on the LCD itself. So that's something else to be aware of. But yeah, if you're used to Sony cameras, the interface will feel right at home. And I personally think, after dealing with a variety of cameras, and you know, since I've gone 4K, there's only been one camera that I've been extremely satisfied with so far, and that's the AX100 that I'm recording on right now. Because I've also dealt with LX100 by Panasonic. That was a good form factor, but for me, the autofocus in auto mode was just a little bit too, it was too much. It didn't work out for me. Then I used the GH4, shot incredible video, quite possibly the best 4K video I've seen. But every time I went out to shoot, I had to really make sure everything was dialed in. I mean, I would spend 5 or 10 minutes just making sure everything was set up right, and then I would hope that I got the right shot. So I'd say about 70% of the time or so I would get a good shots, but 30% of the time I'm getting I'm getting something that's garbage. So I've wasted my time, and that's why I like auto cameras. And this, following in the footsteps of the AX100 that I'm on right now, you can see how clear it is. This is just a way for me to go out in full auto mode, you know, capture both still photos and also 4K video without having to take my AX100 out in the field with me. Because ideally, I like to keep it in the studio. So, yeah, this is the first camera, the first 4K camera that I haven't had any complaints with yet. And again, I've just started thoroughly testing it, so you know, issues may arise, but I mean, so far, I mean, I am super duper stoked. And something else you can do with this, as I had mentioned earlier, this viewfinder on the top is amazing, because I can zoom in and make sure I'm going to get a picture of that tripod, camera on the tripod. But I mean, you can really see the detail through that electronic viewfinder. I wish you could see it in this video, but there's no way for me to. The only way to do it is put this camera in front of your face and do it. But I mean, it's really crisp. So I mean, I'm super impressed so far. And then also on the top, you can see a little readout that'll tell you some key information there. So that's nice to have that, just to be able to glance down. And it's not a camera that, you know, because a lot of people, they're going to say, oh, you know, you need to get the pro camera and the pro lenses. Like I said, I've gone that route, and for me, it didn't do it. Like I said, I mean, I'm not masterful enough with that to get quality results all the time. And my thing is, you know, I'm gonna be in these places where I'm gonna capture this content, and if I can't capture it effectively, the content's of no value to me. So for that reason, I'm hoping I found the right field camera here, and I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated. But I mean, it just looks really good. Wow, if these photos look as good on the computer as they do here, they look really good. But thanks for watching, and again, check the link within this video's description. I've got a lot of videos I'll be putting out with this RX10 too, and hopefully they'll all be very good quality. And be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/irixguy. Y'all have a good day.